Hello and welcome to DieCastRestos. It's Jason here. Today I'll be working on the 12C Land Rover Safari. This model was introduced in 1965, replacing the Series 2 Land Rover and its predecessor, the Series 1. It was in the range until 1971, becoming Superfast in 1970. So what I have on my hands here is a very poorly repainted Land Rover. A lot of that paint has been scratched off, revealing the bare metal. The windows have also been painted in, and it's very unlikely I'd be able to reuse these. They've been scratched up. Missing the luggage rack, which goes on the roof. You can see how bad the windows are there. Really, really poor, but there's some nice detail in the front though. The models were never mask sprayed, so there was never any painted detail on any of them whatsoever. Again, you can see some of the original colour just here, some of the teal colour. This one's missing the tow hook from the back. You can see a bit more of the detail. The door detail is quite nice on this one with the exposed hinges and the registration plate. Another very badly scratched window. The wheels are just quite scuffed up, and the base is plastic, but it will need some attention. Here I've got one of the Superfast variants as well from the same producer, equally badly repainted. I'll borrow the interior from this one as it's got the original tow hook and combine them. I will eventually get around to doing a custom on this because it's such a good model. I really want to do my own take. First job of the day will be to remove the wheels from the axles using my rotary tool. Then I'll use a 4mm drill bit to drill out the rivet post, and then I drill down the post with a 1.5mm drill bit. Then I can remove the plastic base plate from the model, levering it out, and then I can remove the interior as well. Using the dental tool, I apply some pressure around the windows. This is to try and free up some of that paint that's dried in place. Like I said, I've got a replacement unit for this one. I don't think there's much hope for these. Then I'll use some brake fluid to lubricate the post prior to tapping it. This is an M2 screw thread for those interested. Here are all the components. And now I'll strip that paint using my trusty paint stripper. So the early models were generally a dark green with brown luggage attached to the roof. They later became teal with the same brown luggage before then switching to a sort of more red-brown coloured luggage. And then later it was gold just prior to the Superfast transition. Here you can see there's a few remnants of the black paint, but won't take a great deal of work to remove that just in the more intricate areas. So I work away at it using my dental tool. There's a particular gathering of paint in the grille area there and around the indicator lights. And I'll remove some of the excess paint from around where the roof rack attaches. After a little working, the original casting can be seen here. And you can see more of the detail. It's really nice. It's one of my favourites. I love the old Land Rovers. A bit of paint left over on the inside, which I'm not too concerned about. I'll try and pick that up with my wire brush. Just giving it a good polishing over. And paying particular attention to the grille area. There's a couple of little specks of paint left there. Now I can move on to priming using a thin coat of the Tamiya White Fine Surface Primer. The model is based on a Series 2 Land Rover long wheelbase Safari edition, as in the name. These were produced between 1958 and 1971 in both 2 and 2A configuration of the Series 2. Once the priming was complete, I noticed there was a slight gouge in the front end of the model. I decided to apply some filler. This is the Humbrol model filler that I'm using here, just applying it with a toothpick. And just evening out the surface there. And once that's dried on, I can use an emery board and some sandpaper to rub it down to the surface, and then I can re-primer. Once the next batch of primer has been laid down, I move on to spraying the body using some Tamiya TS41 Coral Blue. I've previously used this on the Fiat 1500 model. It's one of my favourite shades, it's really vivid, and I think it matches the original teal colour quite nicely. Now here's a bit more of a close-up of the model, and you can see there's no more gouge on that front end. Next I'll clean up the axles, popping them into my battery drill, rubbing them on some fine grit sandpaper. And then it's time for the wheels to be scrubbed up, really dusty, mucky and dirty. Just scrub away at them with a toothbrush in some warm soapy water. I can then do the interior. This is the borrowed interior from the Superfast model. And here's the base as well, that needs a bit of a clean up. The interior is in fairly good condition, relatively unmolested. The base has years worth of dirt and muck covered and coated around the lettering. And you can see it's an immediate difference. It's a lot better. Now I use the Citadel gloss to give those wheels a nice new shiny finish. I find this oil is really effective. It gives it a great shine without any sort of paint-like residue. And then I'll do exactly the same with the base. I will try the Dettol method in future and some others that have been suggested to me kindly by some viewers, but I've used some brake fluid here to remove the paint on that tow hook. I then tap in the wheels back onto the base, and then apply some paint to the ends of the axles. This is silver paint from a silver paint pen. And now I can begin the reassembly phase. So my replacement windscreen unit, purchased from Model Supplies, goes back in there. I can reapply the interior, and then the base slots back in, and then the screw can be reapplied. Finally, I attach the replacement luggage rack for the roof, and we're all set. So this is the model we started out with. A very grubby, very scratched up and very dirty Land Rover. It's definitely seen better days. Scratched up paint on the side, the windows look like they've been smashed in, but they really have been scratched up quite significantly. Remnants of the original teal paint here and there. And missing the luggage rack, and also missing the tow hook at the back. This Safari was looking rather wild, so what it needed was a good restoration to make it king of the jungle. So here's what she looks like now. Back in the original teal colour, with a roof rack, with the tow hook, and with a new window unit. I know people are going to comment, the originals never came with a painted front end, none of the details were ever filled in, and all of my restorations, unless they're a custom, are exactly as the original would be, or as near as makes no difference. Like I said, I will do a custom of this and give it the full works, but I think picking out the details as they are, it does look quite nice still. I'll try to stay true to my word and stick with the original. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and check out my Patreon if you haven't already, the link is below. And I'll see you again for the next one. Bye for now.